This is what I'll be discussing in today's session. If we talk about this cloud is majorly utilized for storing the data, analyzing, and delivering the data in various form. If I talk about the on-premises as compared with cloud premises, right? If I talk about this on-premises as compared with cloud premises, if we talk about on-premises databases, right? We need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. We need to set up our own hardware infrastructure, right? On top of that, OS installation, purchasing of database license, and installation of database server, and designing database objects. This, okay. We need to have our own hardware infrastructure and OS installations and database license purchases, installation of database servers, designing of different database objects like databases, tables, views, right? But if you come to this cloud, to maintain all this, again, we require separated teams. To maintain all this, again, we require separated teams. Hardware team is required. All required. And database administrators are required for all this, right? To maintain all this, right? But here, everything in the cloud premises. Everything here is in the cloud premises. We no need to maintain all this. We no need to maintain all this. No need to maintain any infrastructure. No need to maintain any licenses. Everything in the cloud environment here. Everything in the cloud environment. Okay. Now, differences between a data scientist, data analyst, data engineer. So data engineer, what is going to do? Data engineer with this cloud services. Data engineers with the help of this cloud services. They work on the data. They work on the data and make it structured and useful. Data engineers responsible for smooth data flow from source to destination. They're responsible for smooth data flow from the source to destination. What? Data engineers responsible for preparing the data, cleaning or filtering the data, transforming the data, and processing the data. We talk about data scientist and data analyst. Data scientist and analyst, right? Yes. Data scientists generally for recommendations for the future, right? Recommendations for the future or the strategizers for the future. Data scientist strategizing for the future. Recommendations, right? So it's going to analyze the data, identify the key patterns, recommendations for the future. But analyst summarizes the past. He analyzes the data and visualizing the data. Data engineer, data engineer does all the groundwork for data scientist and data analyst, who is going to perform the entire ETL kind of process. Data engineer does all the groundwork for data scientist and analyst. More than 80% of data analysis work is done by data engineers. Data engineering involves what are the sources of data, What are the sources of data? What is the format of data? How to transform data? What are the sources of data? And what is the format of data? How to transform data? And what is the destination of the data? Just a second. Yes, data engineering involves this the sources from where you are going to get the data, the format of the data, and how to transform that as per that, and what is the destination of the data. Why Azure data engineer in demand today? 15 years back, right? There is no concept of this data engineer or Azure data engineer, right? We got ETL developer. But why Azure data engineer is in demand today? And what most of the organizations they're hiring data engineers today. Okay, observe this. We talk just open this print. Organization. This is an organization. What? It wants to increase the business revenue. The organization wants to increase the business revenue by utilizing the customer behavioral data, by utilizing the customer behavioral data on its website. On its website. So the organization using Azure for its operations. So it is going to hire two people. One is Azure data engineer it is going to hire two people. One is Azure data engineer, second is data scientist. Azure data engineer and data scientist. Firstly, the Azure data engineer is going to create a data warehouse, is going to create a data warehouse for the organization. So the data warehouse is a structured and queryable data. It is a storage of structured and queryable data. It contains data from various resources, right? Such as user logs, clicks, existing customer data, all this. Data engineer structures this data, going to structures the data, stores it, and monitors it in data warehouse. Secondly, the Azure data engineer communicates with the data scientist, is going to communicate with the data scientist. Azure data engineer communicates with the data scientist to understand the data requirement. To understand the data requirement. He also communicates with the business team. He also communicates with the business team, right? To know the business requirements of the organization. He has to keep in mind the business needs when dealing with the data in the hand, right? Yes. So the data scientist later is going to analyze, later he creates insights from the processed data of the data engineer. Business team requires a dashboard tool for the visualization of the key insights, helping the team in reading the data insights easily. So these Azure data engineers keep constantly processing, analyzing, and monitoring the data. These Azure data engineers, they keep on processing, they keep on analyzing that's right and monitoring this data. They are going to create some data pipelines. They are going to create some data pipelines through which the data is integrated with all the crucial stages of the data flow. And he also makes sure that the pipeline is always efficient and secure. So this is the primary role of Azure data engineer, right? But we have got many other roles. See the role of Azure data engineer one by one, right? Role of Azure data engineer, right? Yes. 1 second. Role of Azure data engineer. First one, designing entire data flow architecture. Designing entire data flow architecture. Secondly, right, creating a data warehouse. Creating data warehouse for storage of analytical data. For storage of analytical data. ETL, extract, transform, load. Extract, it is one of the key tasks of this Azure data engineers. See, they need to extract data. They need to extract data from multiple sources, transform it into structured data. So this ETL, extract, transform, and load means yes, they are going to extract data from multiple sources, and later they need to transform it into structured form, that in the queryable form, and load the data into company's storage service. They need to load the data into company's storage service for further business evaluation by the data scientists. So ETL is one of the key tasks of Azure data engineer. Observe. Data monitoring. Data monitoring. Data monitoring means data engineers make sure that ETL is performed. ETL is performed in a proper way, and data is available wherever and everywhere it is required. This is one of that another role of Azure data engineer, and also like data security. Data security is also a major responsibility of data engineer. They need to secure at each step of the process. They need to step at each process, right? Without any data leaks or data exposures. Next, collaboration and communication. Collaboration and communication, right? Yes. They have to constantly communicate. The data engineers constantly they need to communicate with the business team to check if the team needs the data insights, and also that they need to collaborate or communicate with the data scientist to deliver the data as per their requirement, right? Yes, as per their needs. And analytics, data engineers, they are going to analyze the data and transform it into structured and useful format. They need to have some strong analytical knowledge to perform this kind of analysis. And automation. Certain things need to be automated, like some the process like extraction, right? Yes. So these are the main roles of Azure data engineer: designing entire data flow architecture, creation of data warehouse, extracting, transforming, and load, extracting data from different sources and transform it into structured format and load it into the company's storage service. Data monitoring, right? Make sure that the data is available every step, right? Data security also, right? Let's see that there is no data leak at each step of the process. Collaborating with the data scientist and the business team, and also communicating with them. Analytics, they need to have strong analytical skills for analyzing, right? And automation, certain things need to be automated, like example, like extraction process. Azure data engineering products. Mainly, we have got 8 products or services. Azure data engineering products or services, right? 1 second. Products or services. So we have got Azure SQL, Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Data Factory, Azure Data Factory ADF, Azure Databricks, ADB, Azure Synapse, Azure Streaming, Azure Cosmos DB, Azure Key Vault, Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Synapse, Azure Streaming, Azure Cosmos DB, Azure Key Vault. Now I'll discuss one by one I'll give overview about all these things as a ADF developer, as a Databricks developer, as a data engineer. Directly or indirectly, you will be interacting with all these products, right? Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse, Streaming, Cosmos. With all this, you are going to interact. Starting with that first, Azure SQL. Azure SQL. It is a cloud or DBMS. It is a cloud or DBMS database. Cloud or DBMS database of Microsoft in Azure. It is a cloud or DBMS database of Microsoft in Azure. It is for OLTP. It is for OLTP operations. It is for OLTP operations. OLTP system captures end user transactions. End user transactions. So yes, it is a cloud or DBMS database of Microsoft in Azure. It is for OLTP operations. OLTP operations that captures end users transactions. It is not for data warehouse. It's for RDBMS. So next we have got Azure Data Lake. Azure Data Lake, right? Yes. So distributed, I can say like some distributed file system. Distributed file system with unlimited storage, with unlimited data storage, with unlimited data storage. I want in cloud. That is data lake. That is Azure Data Lake. It is a distributed file system. It's a distributed file system with unlimited data storage. I want in cloud. That is Azure Data Lake. Azure. So if we talk about this HDFS, your knowledge on this Hadoop HDFS, right? HDFS. It's on-premise DFS, on-premise distributed file system. Distributed file system. Azure Data Lake. Cloud DFS. Simply it says cloud distributed file system. You can say Azure Data Lake. It is a repository, I can say. For large varieties. For large varieties of structured, unstructured, and semi-structured, right? So I can say it is a repository of large varieties of structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data. Next, Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory in a simple way. In a simple way, if you want, what is Azure Data Factory? Simply, I can say it is a cloud ETL. It is a cloud ETL or cloud-based ETL, right? It is a cloud-based ETL of Microsoft in Azure Cloud Platform. In Azure Cloud Platform. It's a cloud-based ETL of Microsoft in Azure Cloud Platform. ADF between the OLTP systems and the data warehouse systems, it acts as a integration service, ADF. ADF is a data integration service. I discussed what is this data integration service, but between these OLTP systems and data warehouse systems, it acts as an integration service. Data integration. So here, if we talk like raw data coming from one side, processed data coming from the other side, right? So ADF permits to combine data from multiple sources, reformat it into analytical models, and later they'll be used for querying, visualizing, and reporting. Azure Data Factory is a zero coding ETL tool. ADF, zero coding is required. No coding is involved here. Zero coding ETL tool. It is going to extract data from sensors, IoT, logs, medias, files, business apps, custom applications, right? ADF. Later, it is going to store in Azure Data Lake, and later data preparations, data, everything done by this processing done by this ADV, and finally querying, visualizing, and reporting done, right? Yes. Azure Databricks, one of that important component, right? ADF and ADB are the important components, services, right, of this Azure Data Engineer. Azure Databricks, Azure Databricks, ADB. It is a fast Apache Spark based data analytics platform. Data analytics platform. It is a fast Apache Spark based data analytics platform for Microsoft Azure. Yes. It brings together data science, data engineering, and the business together. So this Apache Spark is a very high-speed data processing tool with a high rate of speed, right? It's going to process huge data in quick time. Azure Synapse. Azure Synapse. Azure Synapse, simply I can say it is a cloud or DBMS. Cloud or DBMS for data warehouse. Cloud or DBMS for data warehouse. For analytics. For batch processing. And for parallel processing. So cloud or DBMS for data warehouse, for analytics, for batch processing, and for parallel processing. Next, like Azure Streaming Analytics, Azure Streaming. It is real-time analytics, a real-time analytics, and event processing engine for analyzing analyzing and processing high volumes of high volumes of streaming data. What do you mean by streaming data? Data which keeps on generating, data which keeps on incrementing, right? Streaming data from multiple sources, simultaneously, right? So it is a real-time analytics, event processing engine for analyzing and processing high volumes of streaming data from multiple sources simultaneously. Azure Cosmos DB. Azure Cosmos DB. You can say like Azure cloud-based. Simply, I can say Azure cloud-based NoSQL database. NoSQL database. We have many NoSQL databases available like HBase, Cassandra, MongoDB, React, Peanut, Neo4j, right? So MongoDB, just like MongoDB, we have got a database that to cloud, a cloud-based NoSQL database. That is similar to MongoDB. We have got Cosmos DB, but this is Azure-based. So NoSQL database as compared with SQL databases, you can see a lot of advantage, right? Schemaless behavior, need to have any record different number of columns can maintain, but in the case of SQL, record to the same number of columns or the fields has to be maintained. Next, Azure Key Vault. Azure Key Vault. Security management. Security management. Protecting the cloud. For protecting the data in cloud. Secure key management for protecting the data in cloud. Right. So these are the main components of just I've given overview about all this. Yeah. Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Data. See, Azure SQL. Simply we can say it's a RDBMS database. It's a RDB data lake. It's a kind of file system. Azure Data Factory. It's a ETL-based ETL. Azure Databricks. It is a Apache Spark-based data analytics platform. Right. Azure Synapse. Simply we can say RDBMS for data warehouse. The data warehouse that Azure Streaming. Azure Streaming, right? Yes. For event processing, but to for streaming data from multiple sources simultaneously. Azure Cosmos DB, simple way, it's a cloud-based NoSQL database. Azure Vault, secure key management for protecting the cloud, right? Yes. Yes. So as part of this course, what you are going to see, right? Yes. First thing, Azure Data, we deal with Azure Data Factory. So cloud Azure Data Factory ADF. Secondly, Azure Databricks. Azure Databricks. ADB. See this Databricks also mainly that Azure Data Factory Databricks has got great demand, and that too if we combine this Azure Databricks with PySpark with the PySpark if you combine, right? Yes, yeah, it has got a great demand. They are expecting Azure Databricks, and that too with PySpark, huge salary packages, right? And Azure Synapse, Azure Synapse. So mainly this product, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, PySpark, Azure Synapse. Along with this, mainly these discussions, right? Along with that, you'll be getting on this Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake. Totally your data you're going to take, and the input and output will be set Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Cosmos DB, Azure Cosmos DB, and Azure Streaming. Azure Streaming. So mainly these are the things I'm going to discuss. But apart from that, you'll be getting knowledge on this Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Cosmos DB, streaming. Right. If we talk about this job market, right? If we talk about this job market, right? Job market of this Azure data engineer. So according to this Microsoft, right, every year, like lots of companies are getting registered in Azure. Even the 90% of the Fortune 500 companies are utilizing these services. In turn, increasing the number of job opportunities for Azure data engineers constantly. Major companies that are beginning to trust and adopt Azure, organizing shifting to Azure. They're already utilizing it regularly in need of professionals work and have huge data right? Or the pay scales also, data engineer has got the highest average salary as closely as data scientists. According to the survey, right, from the up to paying jobs, data scientists. So even companies like as Facebook, Intel, Microsoft, Amazon, all they are interested in hiring business packages. Like giants like Google, Apple, Walmart, high ping data engineers. That's 1.5 times for technologies, right? So what I'm going to discuss as for this course, right? So this course content. So story of all these resources. Azure Data Factory, starting with Azure Data Factory. What is Azure Data Factory? And Azure Data Factory portal UI, top level components, pipelines, activities, linked services, data sets, triggers, data flows. So really like pipeline creation, creating a new pipeline, organizing pipeline, debugging pipeline, publishing pipeline, and pipeline parameters. Yes. Linked services. Just a second. Just a minute. I'll link it for your general queries. What is a linked service? Linked service for blob for SQL database, right? And for data lake storage and data sets. What is a data set? Creating data set for Avro files, binary files, CSV files, JSON files, ORC, Parquet, XML, right? SQL database, tables in SQL database, SQL Server, Oracle database, right? And activities, wait activity, and variables, creating a variable, say variable, source mapping, settings, copying files from one blob container to another container, one file from a folder, all files from a folder, copying it from blob to SQL database, and it okay. Executing pipelines, validate different types of activities, filter activity for each if condition, switch until triggers, schedule trigger, tumbling window, storage event trigger, integration runtimes. Yes, integration runtime, source control, and data flows. What is a data flow? Mapping data flow transformations, conditional split, in exit union, lookup, sort, group by flag, validate schema drift, removing duplicate rows, solid dimensions, right? Type 1, type 2. And nearly 50 exercises I'm going to discuss as part of this, right? 50 exercises, right? So how to copy activity from blob to Azure SQL, how to integrate ADF keyword in it. So this union, lookup, join, window, pivot, alter, SCD types. So nearly these 50 exercises I'll be discussing as part of ADF. So loading is involved. There is no prerequisites for this ADF. So even you can go into the company, you can step into the company as a ADF developer, as a Databricks developer, as a data engineer, right? Yes. Fine. Okay. But if you talk Azure Databricks as demand in today's market, so even the huge salary packages. So before I go with the Databricks, some overview on this big data, Hadoop and Spark. Overview on this, coming to this Azure Databricks service, creating Databricks workspace, Databricks service using Azure CLI, adding users in groups, creating a cluster, starting with notebooks in the job Azure Databricks, displaying cluster, starting cluster, permitting a cluster, deleting a cluster, cluster information, cluster logs, cluster access control, type of clusters, all purpose cluster, job cluster, Databricks pools, Databricks without pools, Databricks with pools, clusters mode, standard, high concurrency, single node, auto scaling, Databricks runtime versions, multi-user clusters, Databricks utilities, credential utility, data utility, file system, job utility, library utility, notebook utility, secrets, limitations of these utilities, Databricks integration with Blob, with data lake, Azure SQL database from Synapse and Snowflake, Databricks handle file formats, CSV data, JSON data, Parquet files, Excel files, XML files, ORC files, and Avro files. Databricks batch processing, incremental data load, data transformations, aggregations, join operations. Streaming API. What is streaming? Processing streaming with using Spark API. Handling batch records, streaming data into Gen, load the data into tables. Databricks Lakehouse. Difference between data lake and data lake. Introduction to data lake. Features of data. How to create data tables. How did ML operations in data table extends. SAP component handling data duplications in data tables. Handling streaming data. Data lake. Workflows Databricks. Introduction to workflows, getting running and managing Databricks jobs. Scheduling Databricks jobs and monitoring Databricks jobs. Azure Synapse also, right? Synapse Analytics. Full of pools, dedicated SQL pools, serverless SQL pools, and Azure Synapse Analytics. Azure integration with Azure Synapse. Synapse triggers, SQL database integration with Azure Synapse, incremental to Azure Synapse, logging in notifications, deep dive into copy activity, data flow within this Azure Synapse, and different transformations, join, builder, union, window, pivot, Spark pulls introductions in this Azure Synapse. Everything in brief, in depth, we'll be discussing. Yes. The duration of this course, right? Around 3 months it will be. For ADF, for this data engineering, right? Around 3 months it takes. 3.5 months it takes. If you want to go with data factory and Databricks also, first I'll go with ADF. But if anywhere Databricks batch is started, you can also attend parallelly if you have got to decrease the time bound, right? You will be getting each and every session video, right? Whatever session video. Every day you'll be getting the session video and the soft copy of this class notes. If you miss any session, right? Soft copy of class notes. And a WhatsApp group for technical discussion. WhatsApp group for technical discussions, assignments, and tasks to work with. Interview questions, topic wise. Okay, fine. Tomorrow also everyone can attend the session, same timing and same. Okay, but the timings of this batch, I'll make it clear about the timings of this batch before you go ahead, right? So first 1 week will be starting at 5 p.m. right? Before we go with the payment, I'm discussing this. So later, up to the end of the course, it starts at 7 p.m. in the evening, right? First 1 week at 5 p.m. Later, it starts from 7 p.m. It starts at 7 p.m. in the evening, up to the end of the course, right?
And daily 1 hour, sir?
Daily 1 hour. Yeah.
We use Azure, right? So those services are chargeable or we
So
like
I'll show you.
ADF?
Yeah. So you're talking services about Azure Databricks.
I mean, we use some services in Azure, right? For this
Yeah.
data engineering.
The
So
services, the services I'll discuss. So some services are lifetime free, some services are for 1 year they are free, some services for only 1 month they are free. So how to get the free Azure account, how to create a free Azure account, right? So we can work freely, right? For 1 month it will be providing free account. Some of them will be for 1 year free. Some services will be 1 year free. Later, depending upon your usage, pay as you go. So just it won't charge you much. One thing for your daily practice, if you are using, right, just 1 hour, I'll show you with a minimal cost, with very minimal cost, how you can work it. Means it is giving a free account, Azure free account, with that you can work. Later, if you work, right, how with very minimal charges, how you can work. So I'll say, right, minimal account, you need to work and delete. So in such way, it hardly takes 2 minutes to read this, right? If you want to pay as you go, you can, but I'll show you the process how to get Azure free account. Here, what it is elapsed, then how you can that too with very minimal charge. I'll be discussing, right?
minimal means any particular range. How
See,
much?
for example, total month, maximum it cannot go like 500 rupees.
Yeah. So for
Sir,
3 months, it will be 1500 max.
Max it will be. And the two for ADF, it's not like for Databricks, I'm talking. For ADF, we can work everything freely, all the services we utilize, and it won't charge at all, even not even 100 rupees or 200 rupees won't be charged. We are working. For Databricks, and especially we'll have the total control on the cluster, we'll be creating cluster, workspaces, clusters, notebooks, all these things. In the background, major sources will be running. And that too, okay, for Databricks with minimal charge, that's said, I said monthly 500, right? Yes. For data
One last,
factories,
one last question. What is data engineer and ETL developer?
data is. So mostly ETL developer and data engineer, right? Most of this
Yeah.
ETL developer, right? Mostly they are working with structured data. They'll be working with a structured kind of data. But here, Azure data engineer, he has the knowledge about NoSQL databases, streaming. He has to work with NoSQL data, streaming the data, and unstructured with all the various different types of files he has to work. And
Data
that
engineer is bigger.
data engineer, right? Yes. and that he has to deal with huge data storage and processing. Right. Previously, they were like developers. Now they are same people are called as data engineers. So in the tomorrow's class, just I'll be briefing you more on this, right, as the query you asked, right, with multiple examples. Difference between ETL developer and data engineers, they need to have the knowledge how to work with any kind of data. Means whatever the data thing is, not only pulling the data, they need to make it structured, make the data in the structured format. So previously I've got some tools available. They were not that much as compared to this current tools, data engineering tools, right? Yes, and that too ETL is for only small amounts of data. For huge data, that too here ETL, we have got ETL, but in this we are going to see ELT model. ETL model and ETL model for small amounts of data. Extract, load, and later from that whatever that transform it. ETL model is for huge data, right? ETL is for small amount of data, extract and transform and load it. Yes.
Covering data modeling also?
Yeah, I'll be discussing.
Data warehousing.
Hmm.
Are you going to discuss data warehousing concepts or not?
Yes. In Azure Synapse, I'll be discussing.
Because I'm going to use the data.
See, one thing, right? Anybody with only the prerequisites, right? Prerequisites of this basic SQL is required. Basic SQL knowledge is required. And the people going with Azure Databricks, some basic Python knowledge is required. I'll be providing that basic Python knowledge in synthesis of Python, that basic level. So everything, what are the prerequisites? Everything I'll be covering as part of this course, right? Apart from this, right, also provide knowledge in, because your input will be from this database, from the files, or from NoSQL databases, or from streaming, right? So this is where you are going to take the input. From database you take, or from this file system like a data lake, or from NoSQL streaming. So you're going to take the data and going to perform the task, right? Again, the output again will going back to this sources. So you'll be interacting with all this. During this course, you'll be interacting with these things. So majorly our discussion will be on this Azure Data Factory, Databricks with the PySpark. Most of these trainings, they discuss Azure, but with PySpark companies, right, are expecting, right, because PySpark speed processing tool has got a demand today's market. Databricks with PySpark are the same. So I'll get the same time, that is at 5 o'clock, using the same link. There's more on this. I'll about these things, more discussion. Fine. So that is now. Meet you tomorrow. Same link. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Bye. Yeah. Yeah. Good evening, all. So myself, I'm Vijay. Like I hold 20 plus years of experience. Cloud is majorly utilized for storing the data, analyzing, and delivering the data in various form. If I talk about the on-premises as compared with the cloud premises, right? If I talk about this on-premises as compared with cloud premises, if we talk about on-premises database, right? We need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. We need to set up our own hardware infrastructure, right? On top of that, OS installation. Purchasing of database license and installation of database server and designing database objects. This okay. We need to have our own hardware infrastructure, OS installations, and database license purchases, installation of database servers, designing of different database objects like databases, tables, views. Right? But if you come to this cloud, all this again we require separated teams. All this again require separated teams. Hardware team is all required. Database administrators are required also, right, to maintain all this. But everything in the cloud remains. Everything here is in the cloud. No need to maintain all this. We no need to maintain all this. No need to maintain infrastructure. No need to maintain any licenses. Everything in the cloud environment. Everything in the cloud environment. Okay. Now, this is science analyst, data engineer. So data engineer, what to do? Data engineer data engineers with the cloud services. They work data, they work on the data and make it structured and useful. Data engineer is responsible for smooth data flow from source to destination. They're responsible for smooth data flow from the source to destination. Right? Data engineers responsible for preparing data, cleaning, filtering data, transforming the data, and processing the data. About data scientist and data analyst. Data scientist and right? Yes. Data scientists generally for recommendations for the future, right? Recommendations for the future, or strategizes for the future. Data scientist strategizing for the future. Recommendations, right? So it's going to identify key patterns, recommendations for the future. Analyst